Did the Rams just pull off the greatest heist in NFL history, or are they walking straight into a catastrophic trap for the 2026 season? Most people think this roster is a masterpiece after the draft, but there is one glaring hole in the secondary that could turn this entire Super Bowl or bust campaign into a total disaster before we even hit October. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. We have to get real about the state of this franchise. On paper, the Rams just finished an offseason that would make most GMs weep with envy. They were aggressive, they were smart, and they filled gaps that we've been screaming about for years. But even with the flashy new additions and a draft class that looks like a gold mine, some massive, terrifying questions are still hanging over SoFi Stadium. Are we actually looking at a championship contender, or is the foundation a lot shakier than we're willing to admit? I've been looking at the depth chart, and I'm starting to see some cracks that might just break this team wide open. But before I give you my breakdown, I need to hear from the real ones. What is the single biggest question keeping you up at night regarding the Rams' 2026 season? What's the one thing that feels like a ticking time bomb? Drop a comment right now because I'm going to be looking through them to find the best topics for our future deep dives. Don't hold back. Give me the raw truth. The first major fire we need to talk about is the secondary, and specifically, the curious case of Emmanuel Forbes. This past week, the Rams sent a shockwave through the front office by officially declining the fifth-year option on Forbes. Now, for those who haven't been living and breathing every roster move, Forbes is currently sitting at corner number 3. He came over from Washington via the waiver wire, and while some people thought he was just a depth piece, the reality is much more intense. By declining that option, the Rams just put him on notice. This is a prove-it-or-lose-it year with zero safety net. But here's the scary part. As much as the front office might be skeptical of him, the Rams absolutely need Emmanuel Forbes to be a superstar this year. Why? Because the depth behind our starters is looking like a total nightmare. We made some legendary moves at the top. The trade for Trent McDuffie, absolute masterclass. Signing Jalen Watson, one of the best value moves of the entire year. But once you look past those guys in Quinton Lake, things get ugly fast. The rest of that room is filled with what I call just another guy players. If Forbes doesn't step up and become the lockdown defender we saw in his high-stakes moments last year, this defense is going to get shredded by the elite quarterbacks in this league. Who's to blame if the secondary fails? Is it the front office for not drafting more corners? Or is it on Forbes to finally find his consistency? Drop a name below. We saw Forbes disappear during the playoffs last year, and in a season where every game is going to feel like a championship battle, we can't afford a ghost at the corner position. He's playing for his career now. If he fails, the Rams season might just go down with him. But wait until you hear about the massive power struggle happening in the wide receiver room. While the defense has its issues, the offense is dealing with a full-blown identity crisis at the wide receiver 3 spot. For months, we all assumed this was going to be solved on draft night. We were waiting for a big name like Jordan Tyson or a massive trade for someone like Carnell Tate. But the draft came and went, and while Ty Simpson is a fascinating pick that I've grown to love, he's not the immediate answer at WR3. So, who takes the mantle? We've got a crowded room, but nobody has grabbed the steering wheel yet. CJ Daniels is the new kid on the block from Miami, and the scouts are high on him. In fact, Assistant GM Sean McVay basically said Daniels is one of the few guys they felt could make an instant impact in year one. But a rookie wide receiver in this complex offense, that's a tall order. Then you have the name that makes every Rams fan's blood boil, Xavier Smith. Look, I get it. That fumble in the NFC Championship game was a dagger to the heart. It was a betrayal of the highest order in the biggest moment. But if we're being objective fans here, we have to admit that Smith was actually productive last year when he wasn't dropping the ball in the playoffs. He was the guy taking the deep shots and filling the role we all wanted 22 Atwell to own. The team brought him back for a reason, even if the fans aren't ready to forgive him. But the real battle is between two specific names, Kenneth Mutfield and Jordan Whittington. This is where the season will be won or lost on third downs. Mutfield was a beast early last year, but faded into the background as the season wore on. He missed a gotta-have-it catch in the playoffs that still haunts me. On the other side, you've got Whittington. I know, he's a Texas guy, and that's hard to swallow for some of us. But the man has the traits. He has the size, the hands, and the route-running ability to be the definitive third option for Stafford. I'm calling it now. Jordan Whittington is going to be the breakout star of this offense. He's going to demand a much larger role than he had in 2025. If he can become that reliable target, this offense becomes unstoppable. But if none of these guys step up, Stafford is going to be forced to force-feed Puka and Devontae, and we all know how that ends, with injuries and predictable play calling. Speaking of protection, the offensive line situation is about to get very controversial. You won't believe what the team is planning for the right tackle position. Is Warren McClendon actually ready to protect our franchise quarterback for 17 straight games? This was the biggest debate leading up to the draft. There was a massive, vocal group of fans demanding that the Rams use the 13th overall pick on a franchise tackle. They wanted a mountain of a man to bookend the line with Larrick Jackson and give Kevin Dotson some elite help on the right side. But the Rams did something that shocked everyone. They did nothing. They didn't take a tackle in the first round. They didn't take one in the second. By staying away from the tackle position in the early rounds, the front office sent a loud, clear, and potentially dangerous message. We trust Warren McClendon. This is a massive gamble. McClendon showed flashes of brilliance in 2025 when he had to fill in for Rob Havenstein. But being a fill-in and being the guy for a full season are two completely different beasts. If the Rams are wrong about him, Stafford is going to be spending half the season on his back. The only significant move they made was drafting Keegan Trost. Now, I love Trost. He's a versatile, gritty player who can play anywhere. But most experts think his best football is going to be played at guard, not tackle. He's a safety net, not a solution. The fact that the rest of the O-line moves were just undrafted free agent signings tells you everything you need to know about the coaching staff's confidence. They think they have a top 5 unit already in the building. Is that confidence, or is it pure arrogance? Only time will tell, but the stakes couldn't be higher. And while we're talking about high stakes, we need to address the most underrated disaster of last season: special teams. Most fans want to ignore special teams. They think it's the boring part of the game. But we learned the hard way last year that if you treat special teams like an afterthought, it will bite you in the neck. Those fumbles in the NFC Championship game weren't just mistakes. They were season-ending tragedies. So, who is going to return punts in 2026? This is a total choose-your-poison scenario. Do you go back to Xavier Smith? He's the only one with real NFL experience back there. He was actually solid for 2 years before the playoff meltdown. Can you trust a guy who blinked in the biggest moment of his life? If not Smith, then who? Jordan Whittington has done it, but he's mostly a kick returner. Jars Hunter is an option, but for some reason, the coaching staff doesn't seem to trust him with the rock yet. Then there's the dark horse, Brennan Presley out of Oklahoma State. He was a practice squad guy last year, but he had over 200 return yards in college. This might be his only way onto the active roster. If he can show he has sure hands, he might steal the job. But let's be honest, the most likely outcome is that the Rams go back to Xavier Smith. It's the level-headed move, even if it makes us all nervous. You don't fire a guy for one bad game if you don't have a better option behind him. But man, every time a punt goes up in the air this season, I think every Rams fan is going to be holding their breath. Should Xavier Smith get a second chance to return punts? Or is he dead to this franchise? Type Y for yes if you believe in redemption, or N for no if you've seen enough. Before we wrap this up, we have to talk about the new looks for the 2026 squad. The rookie numbers are officially in, and there are some interesting choices. CJ Daniels is the only one changing things up, moving to number 6. Ty Simpson is taking 15, which is a bit of a slap in the face to Kenneth Mutfield, who wore it last year. Rumor has it Mutfield might be moving to number 4, but that's not confirmed yet. The biggest controversy: Keegan Trost taking number 79. That was Rob Havenstein's number, and some fans think it's way too soon to pass it off. Personally, I think it's just a number, and Trost probably cleared it with the veteran anyway. Havenstein is still a legend in that building, so I doubt there's any bad blood. The 2026 season is shaping up to be a wild ride. We have the talent, we have the coaching, but we also have some massive questions that need answers immediately. If Forbes, Whittington, and McClendon step up, we're talking about a parade. If they don't, it's going to be a long, painful winter. Which of these rookies are you buying a jersey for? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, let's go Rams.